All right, beautiful people, welcome back to another amazing and impactful episode of the True Health Forever podcast, where we try to live our best life through the lens of holistic health. I'm your host, De'Von Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game. I am sad to inform y'all today that you will be listening to only me today, but I still got some good stuff for y'all. As y'all know, the Queen has a lot of stuff going on, one of which being finishing up her MBA program. She's in her last semester, so y'all give her some love, give her some energy as she pushes past the finish line. But today, episode 23, right? So this is the Jordan episode, and we just finished watching the Last Dance, and one of the things that I think is very clear in watching that documentary and just following a lot of just greats, right? Whether it's Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, Steve Jobs, Oprah, Tyler Perry, like when you just follow the greats, you see their progression over time and just their continuous hunger for wanting to be the best, for wanting to be better. So today, episode 23, we're going to talk about a few books that we've read and that we would recommend, and books that really helped us, develop as mostly entrepreneurs, mostly business folks, but there's going to be some kind of general spiritual / self-development books in there as well. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Okay, so I wanna preface this by saying, when I was younger, I'm still a young buck in the game, but when I was real young, like elementary school, middle school, and even college, I really did not like reading in the slightest. Like, you can ask a lot of people, you can ask the Queen, next episode, you can ask my friends, like, really did not rock with reading too much. But since graduating from college, bless the stars and the ancestors for looking out for me. Since graduating from college, I've definitely learned to appreciate reading more so, especially now that I have the choice on what I'm reading and I don't have to read the whole book. I can go through certain chapters, I can take notes in the book, I can go back to it. I'm not pressed with quizzes and stuff. So I've definitely grown into reading a little bit more for things that I feel I can use directly in life. So I have a few categories. One category is going to be on kind of business and entrepreneurship and really launching your startup or launching your business enterprise. There's going to be another category on just like building habits and the way that you see the world, and it's going to be a little bit more spiritual, but not religion spiritual, but just like frequencies, vibes, energy spiritual. The third one is going to be a little bit more specific on the Black economy and how if you want to be a part of rebuilding Black Wall Street or rebuilding and empowering the Black community, either as an ally or as someone within the community. And then we're going to have a fourth kind of bonus section in here, okay? So without further ado, let's get into it. First and foremost, Think and Grow Rich. Now, the original, written by Napoleon Hill, definitely a business and entrepreneurship or wealth classic. This new edition, written by Dennis Kimbro, still has a lot of Napoleon Hill in here, but a little bit of a rework by Dennis Kimbro adds a little bit of sprinkle for the Black perspective. And as he's going through here, there's more kind of quotes from Black entrepreneurs and from Black millionaires, as well as making sure that I'll just read it. So, Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, is based on the principles of wealth that Napoleon Hill formulated in his phenomenal bestseller, Think and Grow. When Hill died, he left behind a manuscript aimed at specific problems of Black Americans, and Napoleon Hill Foundation closed author and entrepreneur Dennis Kimbro to complete it. Kimbro combines Napoleon Hill's law of success with his own vast knowledge of business, contemporary affairs, and vibrant culture of Black America. So, my main takeaway for this book, and I'll try to do a main takeaway for each one. Trying not to ramble, because y'all know when the queen's not here, it's just me rambling. But for Think and Grow, the main thing that I got in here was that wealth grows from the seeds of thoughts. You know, and I mean, it's in the title, Think and Grow, but then there's a very powerful quote in here that I just really take, you know, it hits deep, is wealth grows from the seeds of thoughts. And I know, like myself, sometimes I look out other wealthy people or people who are perceived to be wealthy, and it's like, man, how can I get there? What do they have that I don't have? All that stuff. And it's all it is being able to have a thought and execute to make that thought a reality in life. So Black Wall Street, the board game, was a great example for us. Taking a thought, you know, me, the Queen, Markel, and the Rare X team being able to take a thought and a concept that we had and make it into a real product was, you know, that's wealth in formation right there. So writing a book, you know, if you're a poet out there, if you're a painter, like all those things, being able to take thoughts and push them into the world, into a physical format, is how you can get wealthy. So Think and Grow Rich, highly recommend. Most of these books you can probably get on audiobook if you're not a big reader and you just want to be able to work out and listen instead of physically reading. But personally, I still buy physical books, like the ones that I really like and I want to reread. I still buy the physical copy. So Think and Grow Rich, definitely highly recommend. Now, another one, and this was a book recommendation that I got from Johanse. Shout out to Johanse, much appreciated. This is called The Kabbalion, and this is a Hermetic philosophy book. Really nice if you're able to watch this on YouTube. Maybe you're listening on Spotify or Apple Music. Definitely go over to our YouTube channel, Th4 Ever on YouTube, and check it out. But the book is this really nice quality, has like gold trim pages. But this goes over the 7 ancient Hermetic principles of the universe. So really deep stuff. I know y'all hear me always talking about frequencies and vibes and the universe and, you know, karma and, you know, the energy that's within, like the law of attraction, like the energy that's within you is going to be the energy that you attract. Like a lot of that stuff is written in here in the Kabbalion. So again, this is more of a self-development kind of spirituality type book, not tied to any direct religion. But I would definitely encourage y'all, if you're trying to tap into a deeper consciousness, the Kabbalion is a really dope book. And although it may be philosophy, although it may be kind of self-development stuff, you can take the principles that you learn from the Kabbalion and use it in your relationships. You can use it in your business. You can use it in advertising. So the Kabbalion, highly recommend. It looks fancy, but it wasn't that much on Amazon. So I would definitely recommend this book. And, you know, we're not selling y'all books, you know. I mean, none of these books, if you go ahead and buy them, we're not going to receive anything from it. It's just all self-development. We want to make sure y'all are out there doing your thing and getting better and living your best lives as we are trying to live our best life. All right. So those are the 2 books for self-development. So let's switch over to now entrepreneurship. So for entrepreneurship, let's go. I'm going to try to start in order. So let's start in order. 1, this book, Start With Why by Simon Sinek. You may have like seen this Start With the Why TED Talk that he did. And he's basically telling you, the main takeaway that I got from this book is you need to differentiate yourself from the rest of the market. You know, if you're a board game company, if you are a YouTuber, if you are a author, a blogger, a painter, you need to differentiate yourself from the other thousands, or depending on the market, millions of people that are out there doing the same work that you're doing. Now, obviously, you're doing unique work because you are a unique person. We get that. But from the outside looking in, you know, a painting to some people is a painting. A book to some people is a book. So you want to make sure that you are differentiating yourself. And the way that Simon says to do it is to first always make sure your why, your purpose, your reason for doing business, and your reason for being alive is clear at the beginning. So he gives this famous example of like how Apple sells its technology and how Apple and Steve Jobs sells the vision of what Apple is. And it's not just, hey, we sell computers, you want to buy one? It's more so, we want to change the face of technology. We want to make sure that technology is easy to use and that everyone has access to it. We're Apple. Do you want a computer? Something like that was the gist of what he was saying. But again, leading with your why in your presentations, leading with your why or the problem statement in your pitch competitions or in your elevator pitch, making sure that every time you interact with people, every time you are trying to even quote unquote sell people, they understand where you are coming from first before they even know what product you're selling. So the why for like Play Black Wall Street was, we heard that by the year 2053, and this is a prophecy or an estimate projection by economists and by politicians, by the year 2053, the median black family wealth will be 0. So that is one of our main whys in Play Black Wall Street and True Forever, in our economic health arm of what we do. We're trying to make sure that that prophecy, that 2053 projection of median black family wealth does not come true. So again, the education that we give in the podcast, in the YouTube, in the board game, we have Play Black Wall Street Academy, and I've told this same statistic to youth who are age 14. I'm telling them, hey, in 33 years, you know, when you're a grown person, 45, it's projected for you to have a median black family wealth of 0. Is that, you think that's going to be true? And they're like, no. Like, all right, well, let's learn in this class. Let's create your budget from 30 years from now. Let's create your vision statement for a business 30 years from now. And let's make sure that you all in this class are worth millions or billions or trillions come 2053, and just knock that 2053 prophecy out the water. So start with your why. I think it's a little bit lengthy for what it's saying. It's a very long book, but the main premise of the takeaway for me was to make sure that you are very clear with your why. So I would get the book, listen to at least the TED Talk, definitely a good one. All right. So after you start with your why, another good one is going to be The Lean Startup by Eric, what's his last name? Eric Rice, you know, no disrespect if I mispronounce these folks' names wrong. Y'all could feel free to reach out to us on social media and be like, De'Von, you said all the names wrong. But this is another good one, and it says how today's entrepreneur uses continuous innovation to create radical, successful businesses. And the main takeaway that I got from The Lean Startup, and this is for me, this is a book that you definitely want to read the entirety of the book and not just get the one takeaway that I'm going to give you. But for me, it tells you to focus in on the values that the customer likes the most. So what are you doing in your business that gets the most energy and response and feedback from your customers? So is it your IG lives that you do and you get, 10, 15 people to watch and then you get 100 people to view afterwards, you get a lot of comments? Is that something that the customer values? Is it the blog post that you're doing? How many hits are you getting on your blog post? Is it a certain color that you're using in your posts? Is it your motivational post? Is it your post with pictures in it? Is it if you're doing an app, what features in the app get the most use? If you're doing a podcast, what types of episodes get the most reactions? So it really makes you focus in on what value you're providing and how much the customers are really vibing with the value that you're giving as well. And in a way, it kind of reduces the stress of an entrepreneur, and it's telling you you don't need to do everything. And I do like that about this book. Like, you don't need to do everything. you need to do the things that your customers like you to do very well. And again, lean startups. How can you, with a team of 5 people, be able to produce the amount of content and the amount of value that a full company can do? So the lean startup, definitely a good one. If you are in the entrepreneurship world, if you're in the startup world, definitely get this one. Okay. And then lastly, this is a book that I think is becoming more and more relevant now that we're in COVID-19, we're in 2020, everything's virtual. This book is called The Third Wave, An Entrepreneur's Vision of the Future, written by Steve Case. Now, Steve Case was the co-founder of AOL, American Online, like one of the first like big internet companies, and he definitely played a large role in getting the internet to where it is right now. But he kind of prophesizes in this book where the internet can go in the third wave. And I know a lot of y'all have probably heard of a concept called the Internet of Things, right? Where your phone connects to the internet, your microphone connects to the internet, your light bulbs connect to the internet. Everything is just connected. So you have a open economy where your phone can send money to your light bulb to pay for electricity. Your phone can send money to the microphone to then send to your podcast editor who's on the other side of Anchor or on the other side of Stitcher or whatever other podcast you're doing, and you're paying them directly to edit stuff. You have automated vending machines, automated cars and trucks that go everywhere. So the third wave just gives you an interesting view of what the future could look like if everything is now connected to the internet. And as a entrepreneur, as a business person, it can also start to have you think of different, either completely different business ideas when you assume that everything is going to be connected to the internet, or how can you pivot or translate your business to make sure that you can input into this internet economy. So Third Wave, really, really good book. I would read it in its entirety. I also have this one on audio book because this is like a very, it's very future oriented, which I like. So it's a good listen just over and over again. So Third Wave, highly recommend. All right. Whew. How y'all feeling? Y'all good? Y'all all right out there? Or I hope y'all are writing these down, or at least taking the high level notes from each book, and you can choose whether or not to actually buy the book. But again, these are books that have definitely helped to develop ourselves as entrepreneurs, develop ourselves as visionaries in this world. So I would highly recommend each book that I've said so far. So we're going to shift over to folks that are engaged or want to be engaged in helping strengthen the Black economy. As y'all know, we created Black Wall Street, the board game. We love Black Wall Street, the concept of it, the concept of Bronzeville, Rosewood, Seneca Village, all of these just Black societies that had a good amount of autonomy and a good amount of economic power. And as we look to the future, we're definitely hoping that we can get back to reflecting some of the values and lifestyles that were lived in those times. So these are some books that I would recommend for folks that would like to engage in this work, whether you identify within the African diaspora or Black, or you identify as an ally. These are some great books to read. So let's get into it. I would go with probably number one, and no order as far as like how I rank these books, just maybe the order to read them in, would be Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson, very well-known Black economist and activist. So this is a national plan to empower Black America. The thing that I love about this book is it maps out 12 steps to building a strong Black economy. Like, literally step by step. And although this book is a little bit, I think, pre-internet, so that I think there's a few steps that could be modified a little bit after reading the third wave and Dr. Claude Anderson, shout out to you. I think I would either maybe I'll reach out to you directly, or maybe I'll write a blog post or something. But I think a lot of these 12 steps could be tweaked for the 21st century. But to Claude Anderson's defense, this plan that he wrote out was supposed to become a reality by 2005, 2006. So he mapped out this entire plan. He was like, if we follow these steps, if we do what we need to do by 2006, we will have a strong Black economy. So, obviously we didn't quite make it, but I think it is still a dope vision for folks to have. And this was copywritten in 2001, so it was a 5-year plan. Nice. So, let's see, what would be my main takeaway for this one? I think I have 2 main takeaways for Powernomics. One, and it's in the title, right? There is power in the economy. And I think as a lot of different political groups, we're always asking for things, from senators, from the President of the United States, from mayors, from just our local representatives. We're asking for these things. But Dr. Claude Anderson makes it very clear that you need money to have power and influence to get the thing that you're asking for. So one of the steps, he says, like, first we need to get, economic foundation, have money. Second, we need to be able to send our youth to college to get an education. After they get a formal education, they then come back to their communities and work for Black corporations, or work for small Black businesses, or work for the community to strengthen it, to get more funds. Once you get more funds, you then put money into local education systems like the high schools, the middle schools, the elementary schools, and you put money towards influencing government. So you lobby people, right? So if we want new roads, we want a new school built, cool. We gotta, wine and dine or lobby the local mayor. If we want a certain California-wide policy or a certain United States-wide policy, cool. We need to start lobbying some of the policymakers, and you need influence and money to do that. So I think that's just really cool. And this was the first time that I've seen someone break it down like that, how the economy, how politics, how education, and how the Black community all are supposed to be working in kind of tandem with each other. The second takeaway, and y'all can tell I really like this book. Like we read this in the academy. I was on a plane one time and I just read like halfway through this book. This is a really good book, good read too. But another key takeaway that I would take from this is the concept of EthnoAggregation. And this is a concept that I'm pretty sure everyone knows about, but they didn't necessarily know the term for it. But EthnoAggregation is Tulsa's Black Wall Street. It's Little Ethiopia. It's Chinatown. It's Little Armenia. It's where you go into a community and it's clearly unified by a culture, a language, or a religion, or just a set of beliefs. So Dr. Claude Anderson really talks about ethno-aggregation as a form of getting foundational power. So if we are able to bring groups together, which I think sometimes people are a little bit against for safety reasons, I understand that, but if we are able to bring folks together and live within a certain geography, or now that we're virtual, if we're able to bring folks together in a virtual environment on social media, on a particular platform, you now have direct access to them. So it makes it easier to then build an economy to support these people, right? So when you look at Little Ethiopia, or when you look at Chinatown, they have tailors there, they have restaurants, they have schools, they have churches, and all of them are for the community, by the community. So really good one if you are interested in the work of uplifting the Black economy, Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson. Another good one, a little bit more specific on like building corporate structures, and a little bit more specific on you as an individual, right? Powernomics is more macroeconomics, what we can do as a group. How to Build a New Black Wall Street by Kyle Davis and Megan Swan and Benjamin Wheeler is a little bit more micro. Like, what can you do as individuals? What type of business models can you adopt? what kind of contract. It has like examples of contracts and agreements and all that good stuff in here. So this is another book that I would definitely recommend for folks out there, particularly if you are interested in becoming a corporate entity. Like if you want to be a CEO one day, if you want to be a founder of a corporate structure, I think how to build a new Black Wall Street is going to be a great one for you. Let's see, what's a takeaway that I took out of here? This had a lot of gems. I'm trying to think of one major takeaway. So I would say, is it going to be two? All right, I would say one for sure, maybe two. One is they say in this book that the way to make real change in the Black community is to have more Black corporations, which I find interesting because, I feel like personally, before I read this book, before I got into the quote unquote corporate world, I didn't have a positive notation of corporations. And I mean, that's because most corporations I think that we're seeing in the world aren't necessarily led by folks of color or weren't founded by folks of color to directly support that community. So I do think that it's a powerful tool, the tool of a corporation, the tax benefits of a corporation, the ability to hire, the ability to have people invest as a community into it and then be able to get dividends and payouts in return from the profits. So the structure of a corporation is created to really bring people together and everybody can win and profit together. So when you think of it like that, as long as the corporation was founded on a good foundation, and as long as the corporation was founded to, again, start with the why, right, with Simon Sinek, as long as the corporation's why was rooted in helping the Black community or solving Black community problems, I think a corporation can be a really amazing tool to impact change. And I think that's going to be the way that we probably go about doing it in the future. Another one that I'll say, and it kind of goes with the corporation sense, but he talks about how in the Black community, there is a lot of small businesses and a lot of mom and pop shops, which is great for the individuality. It's great for the entrepreneurial spirit. But then when we think of just unity, when we think of the supply chain, it's not as efficient as a McDonald's is. And not to praise McDonald's on, it's not a health company, but when we look at business models, when we look at efficiency, when we look at the ability to franchise and replicate a system, McDonald's is definitely top tier in doing that. So if we're able to take a mom and pop shop like, Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, they got a few locations out here in California. But what if Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles can now franchise, create a system where everyone's buying the same chicken, everyone's buying the same waffles, everyone's getting the same syrup. So now the price per item goes down because you have the collective bargaining, and then you have Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, Black owned across the entire nation. Dope, right? Or even grocery stores. Like there's a few grocery stores mainly operated by the Nation of Islam out of like Atlanta. So what if we're able to take that grocery store, take that supply chain, and then put that across nations or across different Black centers around the world, around the nation? Powerful, right? So again, the corporation or unifying businesses under one umbrella definitely has extraordinary powers. And I'm interested to see how we might be able to move more like that in the future. So, How to Build a New Black Wall Street, Kyle Davis. Really good one. All right, let's keep it going. I hope there's been gems and nuggets all throughout this presentation or all throughout this podcast episode. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me while the queen isn't here. Y'all know she's gonna be back next week, badder and better than ever. All right. Now let's get back into it. Up next, The Wealth Choice: Success Secrets of Black Millionaires, again by Dennis Kimbro, the same one that did the re-edition of Think and Grow. This is a really, really good book, specifically if you want to be able to know what a Black millionaire looks like, right? And what I mean by looks like is what is their demographics, how old are they, what are they driving, what are they wearing, are they married, do they have kids, what time do they wake up, what are some of their stories, what are some of their hardships. Like, this book really goes through it. And let me see if I can flip to something really quickly. They also, and I went over this in an earlier podcast, but this is the book that I got the 9 disciplines of Black millionaires. So again, if you're trying to, grow and develop, you probably going to have one of these 9 by already naturally. And it's like creativity and innovation is one of them. You never consider the possibility of failure. You are an optimist is one of them. You have a belief in a higher power. You have a sense of spirituality in you. You are quick to absorb and apply information. Those are just a few of the 9 disciplines. So just for that alone, it's a great book. But there's another one, let's see if I can go to it quickly, is they go through the profile of affluent African American people. And it says, like, here, the average Black millionaire is 52 years old. Their average net worth is $4 million. They've been married for 15 to 20 years. Their daily routine is they wake up at 5:30 and go to sleep by 11. Their investment strategy, stocks, mutual funds, earn it, grow it, give it away. When asked the best way to get rich, 30% said to start a business. Okay? When asked how to get rich, 30% of Black millionaires said to start a business. So, if that doesn't motivate you right there to go ahead and start some type of business, please, come on, get in the game. Let's see, what else was there? So yeah, a lot of really good stuff. The smartest money move that they made was 31% said diversifying their portfolio, and 26% said buying a home. So, The Wealth Choice by Dennis Kimbro. Again, just a really good book if you're trying to get some inside information on how Black millionaires became Black millionaires. And instead of trying to, figure it out yourself, like I think a lot of us do sometimes, we do the research and we try to figure it out. Okay, how can I make $1 million? How can I figure it out? But just read this book and figure out how people did it before you. And you may need to, make a few adjustments, but for the most part, diversify your portfolio, start a business, buy a home, or invest in real estate. Like, I think these kind of 3 things are going to stand true to time. So get that. Woo! All right, so we went through the first 3 already. Much appreciated. Hopefully y'all get at least one book that y'all really like, that y'all really vibe with. So now this is going to be the extra credit, the bonus section in this podcast. One book that I would definitely recommend for folks that like history and want to learn a little bit more about Black Wall Street, specifically Tulsa's Black Wall Street, would be Black Wall Street, From Riot to Renaissance in Tulsa's historic Greenwood District. So this is a great one by Hannibal B. Johnson, a great book. This was one of the books that we used in order to collect research and data to put into Black Wall Street, the board game. Because we understood that, children 8 to 15, or even myself as a 22-year-old back in the day, I wasn't necessarily going to read this book, even though it's so impactful and enriching to my identity and who I am. I feel like I wouldn't have known to read this back in the day. So that's why we took a lot of this stuff and put it inside of the game. But if you are older and you want to, learn more of the history, get this book. Really good one. Takeaway that I would give from this book, there's a lot of good stuff in here, but I really like just the concept of what Black Wall Street was, even in the early 1900s. Like, these folks really just had themselves, the community, just tenacity, grit, and vision for what they want. And they just had an enormous value on education. They had an enormous value on, I think, each other and being guys valuable and being resources for each other in the community and not doing things alone. And it's just inspirational to see what they were able to build back then, again, with no internet, right? No IG, no Twitter, no Zoom, no podcast. It was just newspapers, people, and hustle is what they had. And they were able to build just a beautiful district, beautiful kind of neighborhood or city. So definitely inspirational stuff from here. Go ahead and get this book, Black Wall Street from Riot to Renaissance in Tulsa's historic Greenwood District. And then last but not least, y'all know I am working on my abilities to be able to sell. So the last book is actually a book that I've written myself. And this is called Black Future Month, a visionary plan to reshape our future. So just, again, my why. And the first sentence says the why. In 2019, economists and politicians projected the median wealth of Black families to be zero by 2053. This book breaks down the vision of a collective Black Future Month that will create a positive paradigm shift and bring prosperity to the Black community. So I really take some of the wisdom and the knowledge from some of these books that I've listed before, statistics, and I really try to map out how can we create a positive future. Because whenever we look at the now and we look at statistics and we look at movies, the future is not looking too good for the African diaspora, for Black folks. So how can we start working together now to envision and take steps towards making a better future? The main takeaway I would say in this book is going to be the 7 principles of Black Future Month. So these are 7 Ndinkra symbols. Nyamedia, a symbol of God's presence and protection. Odenye Fenkwine, those led by love will never lose their way. What's another good one I have in here? Okuofopa, a symbol of diligence, hard work, and entrepreneurship. So there's a lot of good stuff in here. So yeah, I try to be an author. I try to, put what I learn, what I experience, and what I vision for the future into books, into podcasts to be consumed. That way, hopefully it's making some type of ripple effect out there into the universe. All right. Thank y'all for rocking with me. I know that was a lot of literature, a lot of books, a lot of words, right? So hopefully at least one of those books you feel like you can purchase, or you feel like you can get on Audible or on audiobook and listen to learn something more from it. Maybe even just in this short podcast, or if you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe. We appreciate you. Hopefully you were able to get a seed, get a nugget of wisdom or something to apply for yourself, for your own business. So thank you again for tuning in to True Health Forever podcast, where we try to live our best life through the lens of holistic health. I'm your host, De'Von Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game. We hope y'all stay healthy. We hope y'all stay mentally wealthy. And of course, we hope y'all stay true.